Hello everyone, Darfather here. This time with a new Wolcen build. This is the ToxWick Crit Agility ISO build. Thank you to Cyberthopp from Twitch, as this build is his concept. If you like it, consider following and like it for more. Please comment if you have questions or suggestions of how to improve the build. Also, joining me on Twitch and on the other social platforms linked below will be great. Let's have a small build overview. This is a super fun build where you move for a second, shoot short toxic burst, and repeat, therefore the name of the build. We focus on crit and agility while wielding a shield for that sweet block chance. It's a super cool to play and a decent mapper and an amazing boss killer. You need some gear to make this OP, but you can do without it. Let's check a little bit on the damage modifiers. You want to focus on crit percentage, crit chance and crit damage, attack speed, around 500, 600 agility, and then you need to take as much as you can. Flat weapon damage, flat damage to attacks. By the way, for endgame you need rend. Skill damage multipliers for attack, projectiles, material and toxic, percentages to damage, attack, projectile, one or two-handed depending what you have in that moment, percentage material and percentage toxic, and of course the projectile specific ones, plus projectiles and projectile pierces. Let's see how we want to align our attributes. I made quite some tests over a few hours trying to understand the perfect balance between ferocity and agility. I believe I'm close to get to that point, but I may need more testing to be sure. My conclusion so far: agility is very cool for ISO. You get tons and damage. However, too much is a bit bad for you because you are going to consume your rage very quickly, and also feels like after 600 agility you may not get much out of it. So you want to keep your attack speed around 60-70% in this tooltip. Of course, this will get much higher with the GOF we took, but that's the base. Add the rest to ferocity and to toughness, depending on how much you like to go on the dangerous side. Let's discuss skills for a bit. The main one, of course, is the Iosonic Rain, and I'm setting up here for a single target with, of course, toxic conversion. You see as well that we have bleed stacks on it, and for whatever the reason, of course, because it's bugged, it doesn't show the poison. So you have poison and bleed, and this is what you want for endgame. The next skill you want to use is Livor Mortis, and I'm setting up for tanking, as you can see here. Again, you can pick up 3 of those if you want to be more tankier and survive longer. The most important piece is the Shout. We want to take this one for the rage generation and some other buffs here. You may consider as well using the Wings of Wishmere, because they are very good for the same reasons. Also, it gives you a lot of mobility, but gives you rage generation as well. Another one which we are using is the Consuming Embers, the reason being exactly this one, the damage buffs. We use as well blood for the buffs, and we do use Winter Gaps for the same reason as the Consuming Embers, because we want to get the buff out of this one. Everything is toxic, and of course you may consider using a version of Iosonic Rain. If I can select it. No, thank you game. That to me during So you may consider using the version of AoE for Iosonic Rain. I think this is the one. Allows you to use Iosonic Rain all around you. So what's the playstyle? Now, if you want to play in this type, what you want to do, you want to shoot a burst, reach around 800, buff yourself, and shoot a burst again. Around 800 you stop and you do this again. So that's easy. As I said, you may consider using, and again I hope I can bring it here, you may consider using this one, and in the same way you buff and you start again. And if you meet a boss, of course, you can single target it. So, pretty easy. Next step, Gate of Fate. First, the setup. We have here Scholar, then we go to Assassin, and then we go to Plaguebringer. So now you have my setup. Very important piece here. First of all, let's make sure it's very, very clear. I do have the trial. And because I do have the trial, I took those 2 points here. Because I want more cursed stacks. And also, I took this one because having so many stacks, poison and bleed included, this is worth the while, it seems. Now, if you don't have the trial, you may consider dropping those entirely. Now, this build is a crit and agility one, so you want to pick up crit agility on the way, but our target is to reach some of the points. We want to take 20% critical damage multiplier, we want to take the 20% critical chance score, we want necessary for the end game to take an additional ailment to get that poison and bleed stack, and you want to take the vessel for that amazing stay on the place, kill everything, move a little bit and kill again. Then we go and take the 20% attack speed multiplier during the crits. Why? Because we have so much crit that we will get so much attack speed, and we are going to use that attack speed to get even more crits in those 3 seconds. So amazing, attack speeds and crits are working very, very well with this one. Then you go in to take 20% material damage multiplier, which is amazing for any material builds. You take 1% damage for 1 remaining rage points, and make sure you take the 35 rage generation on kill because this helps you a lot in AoE. In the same time with that, you want to take willpower regeneration into rage and this amazing one, which is doubling your damage while your rage is over 750. And that's why you do what I told you before, short burst, buff yourself, short burst again to keep your rage above 750. You want to take the Fluring Flames. This is amazing as well for speed builds, and you'll see how fast we can fill that with a boss. Then you take some defense, it's Tenet of course, and you take Blessed Silver, including the crit damage refill, because we are doing so much crit that this will stay there forever. You want to take 20% damage to slow stun on frozen enemies because we stun everyone with our ISO. And you want to take projectile scales and keep the distance from the mobs because you get 30% out of this. And of course, my favorite and most interesting skill is the meditative focus with a whooping 40% damage if you manage to stay 6 meters away from enemies. And kind of that's it. A little bit of toxic damage and so on, stuff you will see around. When you level up, you want to make sure you take as much crit, as much rage costs, and as much attack speed as you can. You may want to go through those attack speed nodes at the beginning and not necessarily pick up everything I take. So, let's move on. Here are options. So, this is a highly specific build. So you will not have everything as I have. Let me show you how it goes, and then I will show you options. First of all, we are using Virtus to make sure that you can use Toxic on everything here. Then I like to use the Inbuilt Purify statements for that 50% skill buffs more effective. I will show you what it means. Let's go here. Let's take this one. So it has a 53k damage, right? And I forgot to use my initial skill, I think. Gasp, right? So, coming back. We have 53. A whooping 120-ish, right, out of this one. Isn't that worth? I think it is. Also, you have some regeneration on block, and we have some decent block chance, so feels decent. Now, unfortunately, the Juggernaut doesn't work. That could be actually an interesting thing for survival. Hopefully, they will fix it soon. We do have an amulet which needs to have rend damage because the way we stack our crit. So you need to have some rend damage. If you don't have an amulet with rend damage, feel free to put some rend damage on your weapon. It doesn't matter. We are using 2 targeting rings, and the piece where this build is glued together is this one. You get bonuses on crit chance and damage when you are hitting poisoned and bleeding enemies. So that's why you want to poison and bleed them in the same time. That's why we took King off, if you remember, this +1 additional element, and that's why our skills are doing both poisons and bleed in the same time. Therefore, you can keep those stacks up, and you will see them when we will fight later how it works. Then you want to go with, if we go with a shield, we want to go with a shield which has some damage attached to attacks and spells, and we want to go with the amplified shield chest because we get quite some damage multiplied by the block chance, and my block chance is pretty decent, 45%. As a belt, I'm going with a trial. As pants, we are going with material damage and transfer speed between willpower and rage. And as in feet, we are using the Odelia's March. Now again, you will not have that at the beginning. So what options do you have? Let's go back. You want to take some material damage spaulders together with rage and willpower cost reduction, as I have here. You may want to go with the Envoy at Wars, which gives you 10% attack skill damage multiplier. Two of those are great. And they are actually much better than the one I use for pure damage, but if I buff, I'm not going to get near that. So for me, those are still the best. You may want to go to that projectile damage multiplier for head, or you may want to go with pure damage. And some willpower and rage, by the way, which is very, very good. This one also has transfer speed between willpower and rage, amazing as well for us. And this one has material, for example, and transfer speed. An interesting topic is to take this one. It has occult damage multiplier, unfortunately. However, it has attacks gets 50% additional damage as the damage type of the last spell. Well, 50% damage on top of the around, I think it's 30% from this one. It's amazing. So you may consider using this one. If not, you can get a 15% attack skill damage multiplier, which is great overall, right? Other options you have material damage and transfer speed, of course, and very, very, very important. If you don't have the worm tooth, that means you won't be able to use a shield. If you won't be able to use a shield, then this chest piece is useless. So you need to replace this one. One of the good replacements is the guns and daggers, which has a lot of physical damage to attacks, critical damage multiplier, and so on and so forth. It doesn't have a minus 300 willpower, so it's a little bit annoying there, but you will make it work. Other gears you may need. Everything which adds attacks to damage to attacks, projectile damage. Those are, by the way, they are not amazing, which I'm showing you, but I'm showing some options, right? Material damage again, physical damage to attacks, toxic to attacks, material damage again. Some agility is not bad. Material damage for feats. Move speed as well, it's always great, material damage and so on. So you do have a few options, right, as you go up. Now, let's talk a little bit more on leveling. I haven't leveled this one myself from the start. I just built it when I was level 65 or something like that. So I don't know exactly how to level, but let me imagine a way for you. I do believe that starting as a mage with consuming embers is the great way to start. You then buy a knife and a catalyst, and then you buy one of each of those, especially the shout, right? And of course the ISO. So what you want to do is to invest at the beginning in agility and ferocity. And here I cannot teach you how much. I think I would like to invest first in agility up to 500. On the other hand, you need to be very, very careful with your rage. This build, if you get a lot of agility and you don't have the rage type of gear, right, and the willpower transfer, it's going to consume that rage immediately. So you may not feel that great. So again, take agility, but if you feel like you don't have the rage for it, for the ISO, just take more ferocity. It's going to help you with the crit anyway, so you don't lose much, and you balance them as you go. Now, on the Gate of Fate, as I told you, I think I told you a little bit during the Gate of Fate discussion, you want to take at the beginning as much as crit as you can, as much as attack speed as you can, and go very, very fast for some of those nodes, the critical damage multiplier, the critical chance score, and of course the 20% material damage multiplier. You go to them as soon as you can, because those are the most important one for you. For example, things like ailments are important only if you manage to get those two hand pieces. Okay, let's do some playthrough. What shall we do? We do have a headhunt, and you know what? We said this is a boss killer. Let's kill a mini boss. This is a mini boss for us. It's not going to be a huge deal, I guess. So we get in, we wait for him to spawn. And after that, I'm going to buff myself, and that's it. As I said, an amazing boss killer. This one is probably the best eco farming one you can have. By the way, we got a belt. Not amazing, and an agony. Okay, what else we can do? Let's do this headhunt as well. Let's take something. Spawn weak enemies. We take it. Now, this guy is going to wait inside, so why not? And he died. Well, that was very fast, isn't it? We have something else because those were too fast. Let's not forget to take some of this, at least the gold. Let's see, do we have something interesting to play here? Again, I'm playing this from one go. Onslaught, Mandate. Nothing here makes me happy, to be honest, because they are all of them rather long. So you know what? I'm going to hold here. And maybe we will do another video with a playthrough, because this one becomes very big after that. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed. Again, thank you all for watching. Follow me on Twitch and on YouTube and leave your comments. Bye bye from now.